starting your week the right way. Coming to the FPL Green Room with me, Gianni and her, Holly Shand.
Coming up in today's show, we're going to react to all of the action from Game Week 8. I'm going to be relying on the numbers game because, once again, another busy weekend. I haven't watched any football, but Gianni will have the eye test report. My eyes and ears every single week, Gianni.
Love that. Yeah, I've watched a ton and I reviewed all 7 games. I've been doing these Sunday morning streams where I go into details, like a match of the day, but for kind of analysis, SPL analysis. So that's loads of fun. I've been doing that and enjoying it. So first up, Holly, are we in the green room this week? Because I feel like I'm coming on my own podcast, the FPL Green Room, talking about these green arrows, and I keep getting reds. What about you?
I mean, I'm hoping it's been a horrendous week for everyone. And not just for me. I'm on 22 points.
Ouch.
With 1 to play. Morgan Rogers' goal is my only return, and I've had like 4 1-pointers as well. Like, that is shocking. So yeah, I am on a red arrow. Is yours less shocking than that?
Yeah, I think I'm on 26 with 1 to play. Who's your player to play?
Chris Wood.
Okay, you've got a better player to play,
haven't you?
I've got Matt Sells, so I don't. Well, we won't say too much for those listening on Tuesday, but yeah, of course, the Monday night football includes Nottingham Forest home to Crystal Palace. Okay, so there was a lot of XG underperformers this game week. There was a lot of big players that didn't deliver. Haaland captain didn't deliver. I've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who hit an XG of 1.3 alone. He can't hit a barn door at the minute. So annoying. So annoying. Who was your sort of biggest flop of the week? Mine, I think Calvert-Lewin, just for all the chances.
Yeah, it was Solanke for me. It was a frustrating one. The fact that you bring in a Spurs attacker and the game ends 4-1 and the central striker gets nothing.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to speak about Spurs' attack because I think Son will be on the wish list for many. Fair play if you went Son. I also bought Solanke this week, so that was a bit annoying. Bit of housekeeping before we get to that Spurs game, though, guys. We're available, of course, on Apple, Spotify. You can follow, rate. Do make sure you're following us on your preferred pod platform, but also we're on YouTube. You can join our mini league. 139793 is the code. You can email us at fplgreenroom@gmail.com. We always like to start the recordings, though, Holly, the podcast, with a little bit of chat about us actually being in a green room, a physical green room, especially when our arrows aren't green. And you were in the green room at Sky Sports, and Sky is a proper campus, isn't it? Like, going there is a real treat. And you were there without me this week.
Yeah, no, it felt weird not having you with me. Obviously, producer Mark got the big call up. I think it was his second ever show, so he was a little bit nervous going into it again. But me and Hayley held his hand, and he smashed it.
Good stuff.
And because it was an NFL weekend, there was loads of like NFL pop-ups in the like entrance to the Sky Studios building that we're in. So that was nice to see.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot going on, like just in general this week, with lots of people in for lots of different bits and bobs. But I think we're doing the next few together. Dream team is back together, so
good.
Looking forward to that as well.
Good. My TV wife wasn't having an affair for long then. It was more of a fling than an affair. Okay, well, look, let's crack on with some FPL chat, the numbers game, and of course the eye test report. We'll start, I think, Holly, with Man United because, well, they were solid. Like, they were pretty solid. Brentford clocked an XG, I think, of 0.8, and United scored a couple of goals. It was a good display at home.
Yeah, so we saw 23 shots for Manchester United. So, to be fair, I had this down as a draw or a Brentford win. So, I mean, I'm delighted to see Manchester United come up with a result and a convincing one for a change as well. And I mean, they needed it, but this is a team that have the fixtures. So you've got to take note now. I guess the player that stood out the most was Garnacho. 7 shots, 4 of those in the box and 4 of those on target as well. He played 90 minutes as well, which was encouraging to see. Bruno Fernandes, he had 5 shots, 2 on target. So again, a player that we perhaps need to be thinking about again in that mid-price bracket. Rashford made 4 key passes. Eriksen made 4 key passes. So there's, plenty of places where you can go in terms of getting a slice of that attack. It's just really difficult to back them given kind of what we've seen from them this season and last season. But if ever there is a time, it's now. You look at the next 5 fixtures. So they've got West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and then Everton at home.
Leicester, Ipswich, Everton is a good run of 3. You could wait a couple of weeks, but then those 3 look really good. Interesting. Well, I watched the game and was like, Garnacho is always the most... Garnacho is greedy, right? We love that in FPL. He's always the guy that has more shots than everyone else. We saw that with 7, as your numbers just suggest. And he's like, what, 6.5 million-ish? Like, he's clearly a good pick. And it's, you mentioned the 90 minutes. That's so important because Garnacho's been in and out of the team. And we saw Ahmad and Rashford starting wide quite a lot at the start of the season. But if Garnacho's going to get the nod, which he absolutely has to, he's a legit FPL option. I think the only Man United attacker I'm interested in. Like, Bruno's too expensive. And by the way, Bruno looked a bit deeper.
Yeah.
When you got Casemiro in there, no Diallo, it's like, no Kobe Mainu. And it's Eriksen instead of Mainu. Eriksen was playing slightly higher than Bruno at times, and the average position suggests Eriksen was slightly higher. And yet, if Bruno's not even playing number 10, then you just don't want him, I don't think, at that price point. Obviously, he comes with pens and set pieces. But yeah, I like that for Garnacho very much.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be the one that we're looking to target in the next few weeks. But yeah, like you said, I'd probably give it a couple more game weeks and then maybe jump on that run that we see coming up 11, 12, 13. That might be the play because we just need a little bit more evidence of form beyond just that single game.
I'm looking at our players going, who am I up for selling in a couple of weeks in that price band in midfield? And many of us have Mbermo, right? We all have Mbermo. He's been brilliant. His good fixtures just continue for a while, though. Like the next 5-6 games are still really good for Mbermo. Like he's got Ipswich, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester in his next 5. He's not someone I could consider selling for a United mid. But then elsewhere, I don't have that price point covered. I've got a couple of budget mids like you. I've got Rodgers and Dibbling. And then I've got like the premiums, Foden or whoever I buy this week for Saka. So it's going to be tough to accommodate. And then I look at the United strikers and think, yeah, it was good to see Højlund score, but Xerxes will eat into his minutes. So maybe it will just be you can't have them all.
Exactly. Now, I guess the player that's attracting a lot of attention is Son. And 22 shots for Spurs. We were right to be buying Spurs players for this run, given the form and the fixtures. Yeah. But probably in our case, we didn't buy the right one. Son, I mean, I never really considered going Saka to Son. If I was going Saka to anyone, it would have been Foden, but I just didn't back his minutes, which turns out to be a good decision. Anyway. But yes, Son had 5 shots, 4 in the box. At the minute, he's got a goal and an assist. I've kind of been off grid today. So what's going on there? Are we expecting that he keeps this assist because he didn't get the assist? Then it got added. Then they deleted the tweet, didn't they? They
deleted the tweet, but didn't delete the points. So the points were still there on the app. And of course, the assist got him the extra 3 points, but it boosted him in the bonus points as well. It's like a 4 or 5 point assist.
Right.
He shouldn't get it. According to the rules, the fact that it went in off Areola means Son should not get the assist. If it got in off Todibo and then not brushed Areola, Son assist, we've seen them give him. But absolutely, Son should not have gotten the assist. I think he'll keep it, though. I don't know. They can change it up to, 15 minutes after the last game? So we'll know Monday night. But look, regardless of Son's extra points, whether he gets to 1 return or 2, it was a game he could have had 3 or 4. And he only played 68 or 70 minutes. Hit the post. He looked like the son of old.
Yeah. He always comes back.
Important, though. Like, game state's important. And it was one of those games that just fell for him. West Ham were open. And what were you saying? He always comes back.
Yeah, he always comes back strongly after an injury. But, I mean, we've got European midweeks. It'd be interesting to see minutes for him. I mean, there's other options from Spurs, though, like Brennan Johnson. I know he had all the hype pre-game week and he didn't get the return, but 5 shots, 5 in the box. Maddison with 5 key passes again. Like, the numbers are there for a lot of their players. I mean, we're both... Have you got Johnson and Solanke now?
No, I've just got Solanke. Right. And look, Johnson was the most transferred in player of the game week. And you can count yourself really unlucky if you went there because he accumulated the same numbers there as Son in terms of shots, more inside the box than Son. He played 90, I think, Brennan, and another day he gets the double-digit return and Son blanks. So It was unfortunate. Maddison, with all those key passes, by the way, I think got hooked at half time and he wasn't injured. They were getting overrun in midfield because he's playing Kulusevski and Maddison with one holding midfielder.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. And West Ham exploited that first half. And then at half time, he went, I'm going to put on, I think he put on Pap Sarr. So it was Sarr and Basuma with Kulusevski.
Right.
Much better balance with the one number 10 rather than the two. And Kulu is a minutes monster. I think he's played 90 in the last 5 or 6 games. Maddison is slipping down that pecking order. When they have easy games, he'll play both. But in tougher games, looks like it's going to be Kulu over Mads.
That's a concern, actually. Maddison's a player I love.
Same.
Been great in FPL in the past. So you've got Saka.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about Saka at the moment? Like, have we had any news? You're selling him.
I'm selling him regardless. If he's fit, I'm selling him. My plan was always to sell him. I actually went early with my transfers on the Friday night, Holly, because Solanke was due a price rise. Right. And I needed to get Solanke for Havertz at the current price to allow me the exact funds for Saka to Palmer next week, i.e. game week 9. So I've got 0.8 in the bank. I can afford a price drop on Saka because he's gone up since I've owned him. And the plan was always Palmer in, Saka out. But having seen Son this week, I've gone from 95% sure I'm buying Palmer to 50% sure I'm buying Palmer and 50% sure I'm buying Son. I'm definitely using that spot. I just don't know if it's Son or Palmer. Now, you could go Son for 3 weeks and then you could jump to Palmer. And that's what might be the smart play. Like, Son's next 3 are Palace, Everton, Ipswich. And then in game week 12, he goes to Man City. Yeah, he goes to Man City. And then Palmer in game week 12 has Leicester. And then he goes on an unbelievable run.
Maybe that plays on then. I mean, I've obviously got Palmer. The reason I didn't sell Saka is because I feel like he's a long-term hold and a season keeper.
We'll buy him back and when he gets those fixtures, won't we? But we'll want him back.
Let's see what happens midweek. I feel like a lot can change on midweek. A team that won't be involved in midweek that looked good this week with Newcastle, who had 21 shots. So I know obviously the result wasn't there, but the underlying numbers were. Isak came straight back in, 7 shots, 4 on target, 5 in the box. And then we saw Gordon then move back to his traditional role where he wants to play on the wing. He had 4 shots, all in the box. Joe Linton, 4 shots in the box and 2 big chances. So what... I don't know, Newcastle is a funny one in terms of, I think they've got quite a lot of home fixtures in their schedule that will help them down the line. But the next couple are more difficult. Chelsea away and then Arsenal at home before they get their fixture swing around game week 11.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned Newcastle as sort of one of the headline teams, because we always look at the result and you can just easily dismiss them because Brighton go away from home, they win the game. But Newcastle were good. And the underlying numbers was there. The XG plot suggests Newcastle were the better team. The average position map suggests Newcastle were way better. Had loads of possession. Isak's still a bit pricey though, isn't he? Like, what is he, 7.3 or 8.3? I think Gordon's 7.3. There's a million between them. And I think it's worth, money's going to be tight. We want all these premiums. Gordon's the one that really caught my eye. And he had a header he should have scored. Isak missed a one-on-one though. They're both top talents and they're clearly the 2 Newcastle players are always interested in for a reason. But you're right, when the fixtures turn, I always think they've got a goal in them, especially at home. And with players like Gordon and Isak, they might just be slept on for a while. I started the season with Gordon and he got me the goal at Bournemouth. I was all right. He did all right. He looked sharp. I'm interested. I'm interested in Gordon at some point very soon.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you've been watching all the TV games. So, what other information have you gleaned from those? What, like Chelsea, Liverpool? Yeah. Because Liverpool, we've been saying have not been tested yet.
They were tested today, and
got the result.
They got the result. It was pretty even. Like there could have been a Chelsea pen. There could have been a Chelsea red card. There was a lot of controversy. It could have been 2 Liverpool pens. There was 1. Jackson took his goal so well, and Jackson is showing us that he's upped his game. And again, we have a budget, we have a mid-price forward here. I mean, he's been going up in price, but 17% owned now, just 7.9 million. But
I sold him this week,
scoring goals. Did you? And he got the bonus point as well with the goal. So Jackson's good. We know that. Palmer's clearly the man to buy. Madueke sharp again. If you can't get to Palmer and you want a midfielder, you're not going to get 90 off Madueke, but he doesn't necessarily need it when you're spending 6.5 million. Reece James is back fit. That helps. He was never going to play more than an hour. He came off just before that. But Reece James you're never going to get Reece James at this price point again. Like Reece James is 4.9 million. He was on all the free kicks. I think he was on corners. Can't remember. If he stays fit, he's going to be good, but not many will go there because they've been stung in the past. But yeah, Chelsea looked good. Gakpo played well in the Diaz spot. Diaz was benched. Yeah, Gakpo played well again. I mean, Diaz came on and looked sharp, but I'd be selling if I owned Diaz because it's going to be a coin toss every week. Jota went off injured after half an hour got a knee to the rib in the first 10 minutes. So monitor that because the fact he played on and then couldn't continue could mean Darwin becomes the number 9 for a while. I don't know. Let's see how Jota is.
So Darwin came on, did he?
Came on after half an hour, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the writing was on the wall with Diaz. Like I think I said a few weeks ago, Gakpo is going to be taking his place. It maybe took a little bit longer than what I anticipated. Another double-digit haul, though, from Salah. That's his 5th of the season.
Wow.
In 8 game weeks.
And he could have had a second pen.
Yeah.
They barred it. It was looking like it was going to be a second penalty. Yeah. How do you get him, though?
I've owned him the weeks where he's blanked. Same.
I owned him for those 2 weeks before wildcard, I think it was. And they were 2 good fixtures he blanked in. It was like Wolves and can't remember. Look, Liverpool, fine. Trent's position's a little bit concerning. Trent underslot in general, but Trent, especially against Chelsea, you don't get much. You didn't get much in terms of attacking output from Trent. Like his numbers would have been really modest against Chelsea. And again, he comes off before the end. You don't mind that because he might bank some clean sheet points coming off early. But his XG against Chelsea was 0.0. His XA was 0.0. I can't remember a game where Trent's XGI was 0.00. We ever seen that?
Yeah, that feels off, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I don't know. A lot are using Trent as a cash cow to move to a Palmer or a Son. What's your take there? Because you don't own Trent. I do, and I don't think I'm selling him, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I played my wild card, it was do you go Trent or do you spend the money on Palmer? And I was like, well, I want Palmer. And yeah, I'd probably stand by that. It is like horrible going into each game week not having Liverpool players, but I think their ownership is on the decline. So certainly in terms of the ownership stakes, it's not as scary as maybe it was a few weeks ago. But yeah, Trent v Palmer, which one do you want to own? Like it's Palmer every day for me. He's just so explosive. I know he's kind of coming into this one and he's not really performed in the last couple of game weeks, but the fixtures have been a bit tricky for Chelsea, and I feel like in a home game it's going to be Palmer that again you'll want. Like Newcastle at home, I don't think that's a bad fixture, or United away, to be fair. Even Arsenal at home, I think home game. Is Saliba suspended for that one?
He's suspended for only 1 game, yeah. So he'll only miss 1 now. I thought it was going to be 3, but it's 1. I just checked.
Right.
And those that own Arsenal players have got a bit of a decision to make. If you own Saliba, do you sell him? Do you hold him? If you own Arsenal attackers, do you hold them for the tough couple of games? Maybe you do because they're good. But then can you bench Arsenal defenders or Liverpool defenders? Again, Arsenal-Liverpool, such a tough game. Like many like me will have Gabriel and Trent. I've got them both in my 11 for game week 9, but should I be playing an Everton and Mikalenko? I've just had 7 points on the bench from Mikalenko. I don't want another 7 points on the bench. Maybe I'll play Mikalenko instead of Gabriel. I think Trent is a dangerous benching, but Gabriel maybe not.
Tricky. I mean, and I feel like this is the point in the season now where having those transfers accumulated, it becomes tough. Because ordinarily you'd be like, well, I've got 2 free transfers. I might as well use one on this issue because this feels like the weakest point in my squad. Whereas now it's a bit like, well, do I need to use it? Do I not need to use it? Can it be
really
conservative? Or, I'm going to go for it because I can. Have got a load accumulated. This is the point now where the game has changed and we're still trying to find our feet with it a little bit.
Yeah, like later down the line, do you want those transfers? And many will go, oh, maybe I will. And I think it's easy to play quite conservative because of it. Like me, and I remember last week being like, I could roll. And then I was like, I'll probably just make 1 transfer. I ended up using all 3 because I was like, no, Gianni, come on. You've got 3 transfers. Try and be a bit more aggressive because I felt like I was being too passive.
Yeah.
Didn't work out being over-aggressive, but there we go. And it never works out to be aggressive, of course, team. Ray and Aït-Nouri, by the way, is a 4.4 million option at Wolves who caught the eye again against Man City. The Wolves fixtures are insane. If you do want to sell a Trent or an Arsenal defender to save money, at 4.4, I think he's the best 4.4, even 4.5 option. Aït-Nouri is certainly on the wish list, I think, for many. So Wolves were solid against Man City. Haaland had very little interest, like little creation. When we saw Doku and Savio out wide, I was like, oh, that could be quite interesting. But it was Bernardo and Gundogan sort of playing in that creative role in front of Kovacic, and Foden comes on and just they look better straight away. Now, I bought Foden. I was obviously really annoyed he was benched. I thought it was a banker for him to start. It feels too risky holding him long term. I'll hold him for the Southampton game because it's Southampton and I think he'll get the start. He took the corner that got the assist for John Stone's header, but Man City are off. It's the third game in a row now. They've looked poor. They look poor against Fulham. They look poor against Newcastle. They got out XG'd in both those games, and they will look poor again against Wolves. So, yeah, cautious on Man City now.
Yeah, it's just with the fixtures, you feel like you should be tripled up. Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton away. Like, yeah, great fixtures on paper. But where do you go? And then Wolves, I think, like, obviously they didn't get the points today, but they had a really great performance. And I think that's really going to help them going into this nice run of fixtures that they've got now. Like, I'm looking at Kuna as well, who could be a great option. Again, I feel like the players that are the right sort of buys on paper aren't the players that fit into my squad structure at the minute. I think that's why I'm maybe struggling a bit to know what to do. But then with 3 free transfers, you can do whatever you like, really, can't you?
Yeah, and you can change structure. That's the beauty of it. When you were limited with 1 free transfer or 2, it was always like, oh, you're buying X for Y and they're always the same position, same price point. When you got 3, it's like mini wildcards. Like you can go, oh, I'm going to change it. Now I'm going to sell Trent to a Aït-Nouri and I'm going to go for an extra premium in midfield and you know, upgrade a Luis Diaz to a Salah or a Palmer or whatever. So yeah, it's really interesting, and I think we're learning on the job with it, which is fun. I like the fact that they've refreshed it with the new rule of being able to carry up to 5 transfers. Holly, a few other teams that caught the eye, if I go back to the Saturday games. I expected Southampton to beat Leicester quite comfortably. I was really pro Southampton because I felt like they've been playing well and Leicester have been playing badly. But it was all Leicester. Like Southampton went 2-0 up, but Leicester by far the better team. All the data will suggest that. Buonanotte is 5 million. He's got pedigree from Brighton. They've loaned him out. He's an Argentinian with a big reputation. He'll go on to bigger and better. And he's playing 90 for Leicester now, just off Jamie Vardy. He clocked an XG of something like 1.3, 1.4. He scored a goal, but big chances have fallen his way. He scored a couple now. If you're looking for a budget mid, Leicester's fixtures are really good, and they're scoring goals.
They've not really been a team that have been on my radar. And again,
nor me.
I kind of felt Southampton would win that game, but Leicester have, they've had some results and they've been given a fair account of themselves in every single game. I feel like even when they lost, was it 4-2 to Arsenal? They still put in a shift in that game, and it was only late on that Arsenal got those late goals. So, yeah.
Did you bench? I remember last week I said play Dibbling over Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I went and bought Dibbling this week. I bought Dibbling and benched Rodgers. I had Rodgers auto sub for Saka, but it meant I didn't then get Mikalenko 7 points off the bench. So I wish I hadn't made that move for Dibbling in. I was so hot on Dibbling. What did you do?
So I obviously had Saka. So it felt okay benching Dibbling because I was like, he's going to come off my bench anyway. And then Greaves, who I started, wasn't in the squad. He's got a hamstring injury, I believe.
He's out for a couple of weeks, he is.
Yeah. Then I had Konza, first defensive sub, who was in the squad but didn't play. So then I've had Colwill. So I've had Colwill and Dibbling come off my bench for a point apiece in place of Saka and Greaves. So it's been terrible. And then I've double Arsenal defence. I'm 3 weeks deep into double Arsenal defence, and it's been a shocker as well.
For those that went double Arsenal defence on wildcard, to get 0 clean sheets from those 3, quite a few went double City defence with Ederson and Lewis as well. The fact that Arsenal and City can't keep it clean is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like I look at my squad at the minute and I've got Haaland, Solanke, Wood in the forward line that I'm happy with. I've got Palmer, Rodgers and Burmo. Then I've got the Saka problem. Well, then my defence, I've got double Arsenal defence, Lewis, and then I haven't really got anyone else. So
Yeah.
I guess Aït-Nouri could be looking at me now because, you know, it's that attacking threat. Like, it doesn't, like, clean sheets are just a bonus with him. Like, he's one of the most attacking defences in the league at the moment. You look at his numbers and his actual output that he's got already.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It really is. Bournemouth, by the way, beat Arsenal, and we haven't spoken about them. I mean, because they went down to 10 men. You expected it to be a kind of... You didn't expect Arsenal to win when they went down to 10 men. No, I didn't. I thought a draw was on the cards. But fair play to Bournemouth, because actually, Arsenal did very little with 10. And Bournemouth clearly are a very good footballing team. They come undone. They go to Leicester and lose the game, which is ridiculous. But then they go and beat an Arsenal. They gave Chelsea real problems at Vitality. I think Bournemouth are going to be a very good outfit this season. I think they've been playing well. They've been catching the eye. And the guy that caught the eye again yesterday for them, he didn't get the goal, but Semenyo was a nuisance. He's very good. I sold Semenyo for Dibbling because I needed the million, and I knew I was benching Semenyo for the next couple of weeks because the fixtures are rough. But if I think beyond that, is he a player I might want back? It'll be between him and Rodgers as who's the sort of best fourth midfielder for me. I want Dibbling because I don't want money on my bench, and therefore the price point's good. But he's got Villa up next, away, tough. City at home, clearly tough. But from 11, you could think about buying a Semenyo again, and he is definitely their best player. He's playing wide, that's fine. He's cheap, and they're going to score goals.
Yeah, I think my only concern is that Bournemouth have struggled to score goals in some games, particularly away from home. That's the thing to consider. And like you say, it's not viable at the moment, I don't feel, to have that strong front eight. Like, it's horrible logging in and having that benching dilemma, and you always get it wrong. Yeah. Obviously I've got the experts community team, and every single week the benching decision is wrong. Like, sometimes it'll work out with auto subs, I think, as this week, but yeah, it's just annoying to have to make that decision each week, isn't it?
Yeah, it so is. Like, give me fodder and the extra million. And I do think there's a world where we're now moving towards, can we get a Son in our teams? Can we get a Palmer in our teams? And if that's the case and we want an extra premium, you need your 8th attacker to be a 4.5, not a 5.5. And it just makes a big difference. Let's move on then, Holly, to there's good bit of eye testing, a good bit of data there. So I think we've spoken about trolls of the week. You said Solanke, I said DCL. Anyone else? Like Haaland again? That's the 3rd game he's blanked in a row.
Yeah. I mean, the Saka situation, obviously that's all blown up on Twitter, but we both kept him, didn't we? So
there's a lot of that. Yeah, no, I kept him too. So if you're wondering what that is, there's Cartel Gate. There's a few accounts. Well, there's quite a few content creators that sold Saka really close to the deadline. I'm fine with that. Like, I don't think there was any intel. I think they just sold him because they were like, he's 50-50 and Son's a good pick or Foden's a good pick, whatever. What do you make of that? I think too many have kept him for there to have been good info.
I think if I was doing a live stream rather than being on Sky, I probably would have sold him, because I think there was enough factors. Like, we was pretty confident that he hadn't travelled.
He wasn't in the picture off the bus.
I think if I felt more conviction in going with Foden, I'd have easily made that move. I never considered Son. Like, fair play to anyone that went Saka to Son this week. Like, it was a great move. But the thing is with Son, like, Postecoglou was so positive on him. Like, you kind of knew that he was going to start. He's not a player that comes back from injury and he's on the bench. Like, when he's fit, he starts and he's sharp and he always comes back strongly. So, yeah, that play was there for Son. Obviously, I'd bought Solanke, so Son wasn't really on my radar. Like, one felt enough at that point. I mean, I don't know. I don't believe that people get information. I think it was just that perfect storm of it's been a terrible game week, and people are looking for someone to blame.
Yeah, it's so true. Okay, let's look forward. We like to look forward on this show. We'll look forward to our decisions. I mean, they've got a Friday deadline this week. I'm actually going to be at Leicester, shooting some content with Sleeper around the ground.
nice.
That Friday night, doing some Vox Pops for them, which is quite like just talking to fans. I haven't asked the question, have we got tickets? I assume we don't. I think I'm just going because I live nearby and I'm going to shoot some stuff. So I don't think I'll be able to watch the game unless I can try and nab a ticket off someone. I won't be doing a deadline stream. You will be. I'll be locking in way before it. My only decision is, do I buy Palmer or Son? And I think in this pod, just by talking it through with you and looking at the fixture, jump on, jump off, it might be Son and then to Palmer in 12. And then it's who to bench. Do I play a Mikalenko or a Gabriel? But other than that, I'm pretty set. So I only got the one free transfer and I've got the exact funds to go Saka to Palmer if I want to.
Whereas I could probably do a multitude of things. I need to think about this double Arsenal defence, because do I want to play double Arsenal defence at home to Liverpool? No. It could be a 0-0.
Liverpool score, surely.
Do you reckon? And then I've got the Saka issue. Now, obviously, we've got midweek. I need to see Saka play minutes in midweek. If he doesn't, then obviously I will sell him. But at the minute, I'm still thinking potentially
he'll be fine. I reckon it's precautionary. I reckon Arteta was just like, it's Bournemouth and we've got other big games coming up. He very rarely misses a couple of games. So he's if you were selling him, where would you go? Would you go to Son?
I don't know. Possibly. But I look at my double Arsenal defence. I'm not going to make a goalkeeper transfer. And I'm not going to sell Gabriel. So I feel like I'm kind of committed and stuck with them. I think it would take a lot for me to sell Saka. But if he's not in the squad midweek, then I think he has to go.
See, and then I look at selling him.
I look at my defence. I've got Konza at home to Bournemouth and Lewis at home to Southampton this week. So even though I've got issues in the defence, I don't feel like I need to make a transfer there either. Yeah. So I could roll.
My God, yeah, you actually could. I mean, look, I think you can be. Could you not sell one of your Arsenal? Could you not sell Gabriel and buy him back? No, you don't want to do that. Thing is with selling Arsenal defenders is they're not cash cows because they're not that expensive. The argument of selling a Havertz or a Saka, there is one because it's like, what can you do with those funds for 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's like Gabriel. If you own him, you have to play him in every game. I could play Colwell against Newcastle at home ahead of Gabriel and bench him.
Oh, I would.
I feel like you would do that.
Yeah, but I told you last week I'd play Dibbing over Rodgers, and know what happened there. I'd play Colwell at home, Newcastle away from home, a proper goal shy.
Yeah, but we just talked about Chelsea, how many shots they had.
And we just talked about how weak Chelsea are defensively. They really are. No, you do you.
But yeah, there's not enough in there for me to look at my defence and be like, yeah, let's bring in Aït-Nouri this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that Saka spot, I guess. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's just that decision on Son or Palmer for me. And I'm captain in Haaland. Yeah, it's
triple
fairly
captain.
Easy no. Couldn't even consider it, guys.
No.
Don't do it. The way City are playing at the moment, I know the fixture's good, but my mate from my WhatsApp group, Kieran, one of my ultras, he FPL Discomfort, he triple captain and was pretty vocal on Twitter about doing it against Wolves. Yeah. So no.
De Bruyne is back midweek, supposedly. That's what Pep said in his presser on Friday.
Yeah, that could eat into Foden's minutes against Southampton too. So joy.
But it could make them better.
It will make Haaland better. 100% makes Haaland better. It's so evident that's what they're lacking. But yeah, still not triple captain for me, but definitely captain. We're together on Friday, Holly. Yeah, for both. We're doing Sky and PLP, and then will you deadline stream that day as well? Yeah.
Yeah. So Sky finishes at 11. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm hoping
you then go home after that.
Yeah, because the deadline's not till 6:30, so I'll probably
you'll be home.
I've got 6.5 hours to get home.
Friday traffic, I only need 4. I leave quite a lot from there at Stockley Park at 11, 12 o'clock, and it's always a bloody nightmare driving home.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to the drive already.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure you have Google Maps on because it might route you doing different routes. Yeah. M1 is a nightmare. Parenting moment of the week. I think it's my turn, is it? Parenting moment of the week.
No, I'm hoping that this is going to be easy for you because you've been on holiday this week, haven't you? With your family. So surely you've got loads of potential content for parenting moment of the week?
I have. I can't give you just one. I mean, look, going away with Gaia for a solid week is great because I obviously see her a lot because I work at home, but having a solid week of non-work and time with her was beautiful. Going to the beach was great. I need a hack for what the protocol. I've never been to a beach properly with Gaia, and then she was a baby when we last went. Now she's a toddler. So what do you do with sand in their eyes and mouth and stuff? It's like trying to wipe it off, and then they're using their hand to get it worse and worse. And you're like, oh no, there's sand in their eye. So that was fun, having to use seawater to try and get salt out of her eye.
Yeah, I really don't like the beach. Like, I never have. Like, I don't like getting sandy. My hack, not necessarily for the kids, but just in general, is, like the proper like beach shoes where you like...
Yes.
You know which ones I mean. They're great for me and the kids. But Bobby just doesn't care. She'll just get lathered. Billy's like, oh, I'm wet and wants to change it. We have to like take a different costume for every hour.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm yet to learn the sand hack. But no, it was great doing beach stuff with her. I'm with you. I think sand is annoying, but...
rather be around the pool.
Yeah, true. So we did a bit of both. But I guess my hack is actually, we came back with a cold. Pretty bad one. Like Cam's been barking for weeks, it feels like, and now Guy's got the bark, and I've you can hear I'm pretty rusty, and we were like, oh, Guy's pretty run down, and then a few spots appear, and we're recording this on Sunday night, as of Sunday she's got about 30 spots on her. Pretty sure she's run down, got the cold we have, but also got chicken pox, and I've been googling it tonight. My parenting hack of the week is, I think this is going to work because Google tells me it will. Ground oats in a bath of cool water is apparently really good for chickenpox. So I've been using my NutriBullet to grind oats, and I gave Gaia an oat bath this evening. Nice. So I'll let you know next week if that works out to be good or bad for the chickenpox.
Did you get in after her?
I didn't. And we usually share baths, but not that one. Not that one. So yeah, that was a bit of fun. Hopefully the chickenpox aren't too bad because it's but good fun to get them. It's one. It's just you don't want to be getting that later in life, do you? Shingles.
No.
So, Holly, congrats by the way. Your charity stream on Friday was amazing. You raised over £1,000.
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing with that. I think it's the third year that I've done it now, and I think last year when I did it, I did a press conference stream into a deadline stream. So it was a Friday deadline, but the press conferences have like become proper spread out on a Friday, and there's always some juicy ones at 9 a.m. So yeah, it was good because the lull, like 10:30 to 12:30, still felt early in the stream, and then when I was getting tired, it was like the actual press conferences I'd normally be on for. But it's just like, it's a great way of raising money for charity, like the actually running a marathon. So yeah, I'm going to keep it up every year. Yeah, and you've got plans, haven't you?
Yeah, first week of December, I'm going to do one. There's a Tuesday night deadline.
Is that the prime midweek?
Yeah, so I might do that. I might do the Wednesday, I might do the Thursday. There's fixtures on all three of those nights with watch times. I'm not sure. I'll do the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one of those days. You can let me know which one you think will have better views. But I mean, Tuesday I'll get press conferences as well as the deadline.
Do the deadline stream.
Maybe I'll do Tuesday. So yeah, good stuff. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Join the Mini League 139793 if you want to. Links in the description. Do hit all those buttons. Do tell your friends about us. And we'll be back next Sunday, hopefully off green arrows all round.
Yeah, we definitely need it, don't we? Yeah, so join us back in the green room on Monday morning. All I want.